It is Tuesday, October 28th, and welcome back to the Nick Watkins Show. I'm Nick Watkins. Let's get into it. All that happened yesterday, so much happened yesterday, and most of it just happened from one game, and that game being Game 3 of the 2025 World Series between the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. This game, incredible. Whatever word you want to use to describe it, it would work. Um, Perhaps the best word to describe it is indescribable, which doesn't make any sense. But this game didn't make any sense. It went 18 innings. The first game of the World Series in Los Angeles went 18 innings, which is two full games pushed together. And the Dodgers ended up winning 6-5 on a walk-off home run from Freddie Freeman in the bottom of the 18th inning. This game was ridiculous. Um, I guess we'll just go through it chronologically because there was so much to unpack here. Um, the starters in this game were for the Blue Jays, Max Scherzer, the veteran Cy Young, three-time Cy Young Award winner, I believe. He went four and a third, gave up 3 runs, all of them earned on 5 hits and a walk, and he struck out 3, and he gave up 2 home runs in this game. So he went four and a third. On the other side, Tyler Glasnow went 4 and 2/3 for the Dodgers. He gave up 4 runs, 2 of those runs being earned on 5 hits and 3 walks, struck out 5, and gave up 1 home run. So, in a game that went 18 innings, both starters went into the fifth, which, in a normal game, that's not bad. And in this game, I guess it wasn't bad considering the stakes and it's the World Series tied at 1. Um, so good start. I mean, not good starts. They both gave up runs. Glasnow 4, even though 2 of them were unearned, and Scherzer 3. So you'd like to see a little bit better performance from the starting pitching there, but they did what they had to do. So those were the starting pitching. One big play came very early in the second inning, I believe, where Bo Bichette got on. I can't remember if it was a walk or if it was a single. It was a single. And then the next batter was Dalton Varsho, who took a pitch in a 3-1 count that was above the zone and was called a strike. But everyone was super confused because it was not a strike. And Bo Bichette wandered off first base like he was going to second. And then the confusion, he called it a strike. So what do you do? And he stops there, and he gets picked off of first base because he thought it was a ball. Like literally everybody in the stadium, including all the players, did. And on the next pitch, the very next pitch, Alejandro, or after Varsho walked, Alejandro Kirk lined a single into right field, which, if Bichette was still on, would have scored him and given the Blue Jays the early lead. And instead, it was just first and third, which Glasnow managed to pitch out of. So that was a big play early on in the game that kind of gets forgotten after all the theatrics of the late innings. Um, but yeah, that's a keep that in mind throughout the rest of the game. The scoring opened in the bottom of the second when Teoscar Hernandez hit a no-doubter to left field off of Scherzer, and then after that, uh, strikeout, and the inning. Uh, then to the bottom of the third, Shohei Ohtani followed with a no-doubter, this time to right field, 389 feet off of Scherzer. So now it's 2-0 LA. We go to the top of the fourth inning where a walk to Guerrero and then an air. Bichette reached on an air. So now, instead of being possible to have a play ball, really, so he could have gotten out of the inning, but instead Alejandro Kirk comes up after Varsho flies out. He hits a 3-run home run. It is a home run. Only 3 ballparks in baseball: Wrigley, Angel Stadium, and Dodger Stadium. Anywhere else, it would have been in play. So what are you gonna do, right? It's the Dodger Stadium. They gave up the home run, and then the 2 more hits followed that, and then Andres Jimenez with the sac fly. So now it's 4-2, Toronto. Shohei Ohtani comes up in the bottom of the fifth inning and hits a double to knock in Kike Hernandez, and then Freddie Freeman hits a single to knock him in And Scherzer gave up the first, or actually no, Scherzer wasn't even in the game at this point. Um, or I guess so. Scherzer let Hernandez get on. That ended his day, and then Fluharty came in. And he gave up the double and then the single. So now the game is tied at 4, and it would stay that way till the top of the 7th inning, where a single from Vlad Guerrero Jr., a 2-out single, and then another single from Bo Bichette that went all the way down the line, scored Guerrero from first, who is not the fastest runner. So props to him for hustling and you know doing a nice job there of scoring from first. A pretty big play. And then this is pretty crucial here. Um, Bichette was pinch run for by Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. And this is the 7th inning. So in the context of the game, we still have 11 more innings to go when Bichette got pulled out of the game because of his knee injury. So Kiner-Falefa comes in to pinch run. Then Sir Anthony Dominguez comes in for the bottom of the 7th with the Blue Jays now leading, and Ohtani strikes again. He hits a solo home run. This time it would have been a homer. It wouldn't have been a homer at 3 ballparks. So the opposite of Kirk. But it was near the same spot. And it was Coors, Kauffman, and PNC were the only stadiums that would have kept that one in the yard. So Ohtani ties it up, and that was the last run that was scored for 11 more innings, which is unbelievable. Unbelievable. I yeah, it was that's when the bullpens who were already in the game really stepped it up, and just I want to name every single one who pitched because they did a fantastic job. For the losing team, the Blue Jays, Sir Anthony Dominguez came in. So it was Fluharty who pitched in the 5th. He gave up some runs. And then Louis Varland went 1 1/3. Uh, then it was Anthony Dominguez who came in and he gave up the home run to tie the game. He pitched 1 inning. And then who else we got? We got Chris Bassett pitched the 8th. Jeff Hoffman the 9th and the 10th. And he got into some trouble in the 9th inning and he was able to keep the game going. Brendan Fisher pitched 1 1/3, and then Eric Lauer pitched 4 2/3 innings out of the bullpen, pitching the 12th up until the 16th inning. Uh, just spectacular. One mistake could have ended the game. He gave up 2 hits, walked 4 people, and I'm pretty sure that 3 of those 4 were intentional. Ohtani got walked. We'll get to Ohtani. Um, he got walked a lot though, intentionally. And then Brendan Little came in. He pitched a clean 17th, or not clean 17th, but he pitched the 17th and got out of it. And then the first batter of the 18th, Freeman, took him deep. For the Dodgers, Glasnow started, and then it was a lot of guys pitched only a third of an inning for the Dodgers. Kershaw, Treinen, Bonda, and Dreyer, they all pitched 1/3 of an inning. And I bet if they knew how deep this game was going to go, Roberts would have managed that differently. But Roki Sasaki inning and 2/3, Emmett Sheehan 2 2/3, Enrique Hernandez, or not Enrique Hernandez, what's this guy's name? Sorry, they have a lot. Or Edgardo Enriquez, sorry. He pitched 2 innings. Robleski, inning and 2/3. And then really the MVP of this game for the Dodgers, the last pitcher in their bullpen was Will Klein. And he's never pitched more than, I think he's never got more than 3 outs in one outing. He went 4 innings and gave up no run, 4 shutout innings from the 15th through the 18th. The winning pitcher in this one, he gave up 1 hit, walked 2, and struck out 5. And it was just a courageous performance. Just putting the team on his back, I guess you could say, for Will Klein. He got the win. 4 innings pitched in relief in extra innings in the World Series. So just shout out to all the pitchers who pitched, even the ones who gave up runs, because this was a absolute marathon of a game, and they needed literally every single pitcher was needed on both sides for relievers. Um, One interesting thing to point out is Yamamoto, 2 days after throwing a complete game shutout, was warming up in the bullpen, ready to come in for the 19th onward. He was going to go as long as it took. He did not come into the game, but he still had to warm up, so you never know if that will affect him in the future. What else? What else? What else? The in all of extra innings, when I was watching the Dodgers were obviously the home team, so they had the advantage. And you got to keep in mind, there's no automatic runner in postseason ball. And this game is an example of why we need that, even in the modern era. It took 9 innings for a team to score. So the automatic runner, people complain. I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but after this, all for it. Bring on that ghost runner. Um, and then, but yeah, so there are a couple points I want to get into of the extra innings, um, all 9 of them. The Blue Jays, like I said, pinch run for Bichette. In the 12th inning, the Blue Jays pinch run for Kirk, and Springer got hit by a pitch, and he was had to be pulled from the game. So those are the second, third, and fourth best hitters on the Blue Jays, all out, not playing. They're on the bench. One of them hurt, 2 of them pinch run for throughout the entirety of the extra innings. And so the remaining hottest hitters for the Blue Jays were Vladdy, who hit third, and Clement, who hit eighth. And you really can't, they're not even coming up in the same inning rarely, or even back to back, or even not even, they're not close to each other. They're 5 batters away. So this was obviously bad for the Blue Jays, and the whole time I was watching it, it really felt like the Blue Jays offense was not a factor in the extra innings. They threatened only like 2 or 3 out of the 9 innings. They actually got runners on in scoring position. They went from the 12th all the way to the 18th without getting a runner in scoring position. They definitely had their chances. Both teams had their chances to win this game, but they could not cash in. And it just felt like the Blue Jays offense, it was just not contributing. It was not hitting the ball. They were not hitting the ball. It just felt like the Dodgers pitchers would come in, mow them down, and then the pressure was totally on the Blue Jays pitchers, especially Lauer, to just make it go extra inning. And it really felt like it was when the top of the inning came up, it was just immediately sim to the bottom of the inning, and then it was a battle between can the Blue Jays hang on and force another inning, and then when it got to the top of the inning, when they did it over and over and over again, they just couldn't do anything with it, all the chances they had. And then on the other side, the Dodgers, they flew out to the warning track like 3 or 4 times in the extra innings. And a point was made in the broadcast. Tomorrow, or today rather, it's going to be 90 degrees in LA at while the game's going on. And if it was hotter and it was during the day, maybe those balls could have left. Smith hit one way to the warning track. Teoscar Hernandez and Freddie Freeman did it a couple times where they just missed it. And Varsho was going back and back and back to the wall, and he caught it right in front of the wall. Not even hand, his whole back was against the wall. That's how, just, the yard barely kept it in. So that just goes to show, you know, how close this game was and how easily the result could have been different. But the 18th inning obviously was the last inning of the game, and it was the biggest one in my opinion because, like I said, Will Klein, he's never gotten more than 3 outs in an inning or in a game until last night, and he was throwing tons of pitches. He threw like 72 pitches was the total, and he was coming in throwing 99, 98, and the first pitch of the inning was 96 on his fastball. And then I said, this has to be the inning because Little, the pitcher for the Blue Jays, who got the loss in this one for giving up the home run, he squeaked through the 17th inning, and he had also gotten roughed up a little bit against the Mariners in Game 5. So I didn't have the most confidence in him. And I said, look, Klein, he's tired. This is his last inning. Vladdy's coming up. He was due up second in the inning. He drew a walk. This has to be the inning for the Blue Jays. And they got to, with a wild pitch, they got to no, so what happened was Vladdy walked, and then Isaiah Kiner-Falefa grounded one to shortstop, and they almost turned a double play. It was super close. The called him safe. They challenged it. Not enough evidence to overturn it. Bang bang play. So Kiner-Falefa's on first. Then a walk to Varsho, a wild pitch, puts second and third with two out, and the batter was just pulling it up here. Heineman. It was Tyler Heineman. It would have been Alejandro Kirk, but it was Heineman who came in to pinch run for him, and he struck out next batter, Freddie Freeman, walk-off solo homer. So the 18th was the big inning in this game, obviously because it was the last one, but that was the Blue Jays really their best chance. Although the 12th inning, they had the bases loaded, and Kershaw came in. So there's so much talk about in this game. We're already 16 minutes in. We haven't even touched the Warriors yet. But we got to talk about the last point from this game. Shohei Ohtani, he reached base 9 times in this game, which is a World Series record. He was 4 for 4 with 2 home runs. He had a two home runs, 2 doubles. He was intentionally walked 4 times and then just regular walked once. Uh, 3 RBIs, 3 runs. Just a bananas game from what the player who's going to be the MVP. So that's the last point. The Dodgers win 6-5 in 18 innings. Speaking of Ohtani, he's going to pitch today. He's the starter for the Dodgers against Shane Bieber. And the key to this game, because we got to move on here, I'll just make this one point. The key to this game is the starters have to go deep in this game. Both bullpens were heavily used in last night's ball game. Obviously, every single bullpen pitcher was used, so the starters have to go deep into this game in order to give the bullpen some rest and not have to because that could be a factor. If they're tired, they're not going to be pitching their best, and the offenses could take advantage of that. Ohtani is coming off a 6 shutout innings with 10 strikeout performance in his last outing. Shane Bieber, Game 7 start against the Mariners. That was his last one. He's a Cy Young winner, so he knows how to do it. Interesting factor here, though. You need depth from your starters. Both pitchers coming off Tommy John surgery. This is their first year pitching-wise back. So they may not be able to go super deep. That's going to be a factor. Got to be watching that. As for momentum, though, the Dodgers have the momentum. That was an 18-inning marathon game. Whoever, like the Blue Mariners and the Tigers one from earlier in the postseason, where I said the longer it went, or in the first game rather, the first game of that series, the longer it went, the more momentum build there was, and the more crushing the defeat for the losing team. Dodgers won 18. They have the momentum. They have to win. They only have to win 2 more games now, and they have 2 home games to do so. And that's why Toronto must win this game. It's okay. It's not a must win, technically speaking, but for all intents and purposes, this is a must win game because if they lose this game, they're down 3-1. Still have to face Snell in Los Angeles. But if they're able to win this game, they're guaranteeing themselves at least 1 more game at home. And with the way that the Rogers Center was alive and electric the first 2 games of the series, that's a big factor. The Blue Jays, you got to keep in mind, have the best home record in baseball this year. They were terrific at home, and they got to win this game to make sure that the Blue Jays faithful in Toronto and in Canada, the whole country, are able to see another game at home in this postseason. So, Blue Jays, backs against the wall, gotta win this game to give yourselves at least a realistic chance. Because if you don't, Snell, Yamamoto, Glasnow, 5, 6, and 7, and one of those games is at home. All they need to do is win one. So it's a huge game tonight. Excuse me. And it's going to be. If you thought last night was crazy, maybe this night will be even crazier. Who knows? We're already 20 minutes in. We haven't even talked about the Warriors, who won 131-118 over the Memphis Grizzlies last night. Steph Curry had 16 points. He was outscored by let's see, one, two, three, four. Four Warriors. Pajemski, Kaminga, Moody, and Butler. Pajemski, Kaminga, and Moody, the young guys, really showing up with big minutes here. But the point I want to make is about, well, first of all, I just want to say it was a nice team win, much like the Lakers game, where the whole team was doing it, and then the Nuggets win um, was more the stars at the end of the game, and then this win, however, was more the supporting cast rather than the stars. Of course, Butler had a nice game, 25 and 5, and Draymond is Draymond. He had 10 assists, and Steph's obviously Steph, so he has that gravity effect. But the not necessarily the role players, but the supporting cast were the stars in this one. And I want to highlight Jonathan Kaminga, who we heard his name every day in the offseason about this contract dispute, and he wants to get paid, and the Warriors don't want to necessarily pay him because he hasn't proved that he's worthy of that, and I kind of agree with that. And all of the drama, he's come in here and he's played some great games to start the year. We're only 4 games in, but a double double for Kaminga, 25 points, 10 boards, and 4 assists. The assists are honestly the big part. You know that he wasn't necessarily selfish, but I think the point I want to make is the Jimmy Butler effect has affected J.K. in a big way because Kaminga, we know his athleticism, air Congo, his ability as a pure scorer. He's such a dog. He can get to the rim whenever he wants. But the Jimmy Butler, just knowing the game, and it looks like the game has slowed down for JK, where he has 10 boards and 4 assists. So he's doing the little things. He's playing the defense. He's being unselfish. Not that he was selfish before, but he's playing Warriors basketball. And that was a big thing before is like, well, Kaminga's style doesn't really fit the Warriors, but he is playing Warriors basketball. He's shooting the three. He's 0 for 2 last night, but he's been making them, um, when he has to. And he just looks great. And I hope that he stays on the team when we get to the trade deadline. I hope that we can keep him. But so far, the Jimmy Butler effect has rubbed off on JK. He's doing a nice job playing good Warrior basketball, and I'm very excited for the uh, really his future and the future of this season, which will continue tonight when the Warriors host the LA Clippers on NBC. It's at 8 p.m. I'm probably gonna, last night I stayed up to watch all 18 innings of the Dodger Blue Jay game. I'm going to bed early tonight, so I'll record it, watch it in the morning, and be sure to talk about it. Um, yeah, so Clippers and Warriors, not necessarily as big as Lakers Warriors, but when I first started watching basketball, the Lakers were not good, and the Clippers were very good, the Lob City Clippers. So I do not like the Clippers. My boss is a Clipper fan. He's also a Dodger fan and a Ram fan. So I don't like any of his teams. And I know he's probably not going to see this unless I show it to him. But just in case you're watching, boss, I do not like the Clippers. And I hope we're going to demolish them tonight. Because Kawhi Leonard playing? He is playing. There's the whole drama there. He's working 2 jobs. He must be tired. If you don't know, look that up. Look that up. Um, is Horford playing? He is questionable to play. I still think we can win without Horford, but it would be nice to have him for the depth. But the Sharks also play at 8 o'clock against the Kings. We host the Kings, and that's what's going on. We gotta wrap this up. I like when the episode goes longer, but nobody's watching anyway. But Yeah, I've been talking this whole time. A lot of times I just kind of yap and try to repeat points, but this time I actually had multiple points to make. So maybe I should, actually watch the games very closely so I can make points about it. Let's stop this before it gets to 25 minutes. We got stuff to do today. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.